everyone, and welcome to a special edition of The Eagle's Eye, a show in which we say goodbye to our fellow JDM seniors. I'm your host, Kylie Van Dine, and I am joined today by JDM senior Nick Stupka. Nick, welcome to our show.
Thank you for having me.
So, just like myself, you came to JDM as a changing major. Why did you initially decide to make the switch from your previous major to JDM?
Well, that's a bit of an odd one, really. I started out as an education major here at AU. I was doing integrated language arts, so that's grades 7 through 12, if memory serves me well. And during the whole, like involvement fair thing that you have in the beginning of the year, I happened by the WRDL booth. And Glenn Roush, who was the program director at the time, encouraged me to uphold a radio shift. And so I said, okay, I'll give that a try. That sounds fun. And so I did my education courses and I did the whole radio thing. It's just, a bit of fun. And I realized it was more than just fun, but it felt like something I wanted to do. And then I had JDM as a minor. I was a journalism minor, and all was well there. But then eventually I started falling more out of love with teaching and more in love with this. And so eventually I just decided to make the switch, and I put in all my chips, and here I am. So
okay.
Felt like it was worth it.
When you switched majors, did you feel as if you made the right decision and JDM was where you belonged?
Oh, absolutely. As I started getting more and more involved with this department, just the people, the professors, all the faculty here are just wonderful. Like, it's been such a trip. And as I've, worked up more and more in the radio station especially, I've just enjoyed my time so much. Moving from just having a DJ shift all the way up to what I do now, it's been a wild ride, and it's been so fun. But I eventually took a production minor too. I kept the journalism major, but I feel like it's so worth it, because just thinking about me being an educator now, I'm like, maybe I could do that, but would I love it as much as, I don't know, being able to do something really cool on air, editing things like that, because I find that to be really fun. So,
right.
Yeah.
When making the decision of what college you would be attending, tell me why you chose AU opposed to other colleges.
Well, funny enough, I went with Ashland University at first because a suggestion I got from one of my high school teachers saying, hey, they have one of the best education programs in the United States. I'm like, oh, really? And so, I toured the place a couple times and saw how good their education program was, and, how they prepped you, how they got you into the field early on. I'm like, this would be really, really good. And so that's the premise I went here on. But then, of course, in one of the future Eagle Day events, something like that, I talked with our own department chair, Dr. McCoy, and he was a very well-spoken, very knowledgeable fella, and I felt like, wow, like if I can learn to carry myself like that by going into this department, then maybe this would be a good pick for my minor, and lo and behold, it was more than just a good pick for my minor, so yeah.
So I know you're involved in the radio station. What other activities are you involved in within JDM?
Oh, okay. So I write for the Collegian occasionally. I mean, obviously, we take 211. That's our job. We have to do that. But I still find that to be enjoyable. It's been fun going to Faculty Senate every few Fridays throughout the months. So that's an enjoyable experience. And then I also anchor for TV 20 doing news breaks. And that's been a fun thing ever since I did it. And it's interesting because I started out as a sub. I never really auditioned. They just kind of had me do it. And then I'm like, this is kind of fun. And then I just started going into it. And the next year, they're like, you're going to be grandfathered in this. You still want to do it? I'm like, sure. And I just kind of kept up with it. So that's something else I do around the department. And then otherwise, I just kind of help whenever I can. So.
Are you involved in any other activities across campus?
Oh, yeah. A big one that comes to mind is band, of course. I've been a band geek for more of my life than I care to admit to, ever since I was about this tall, in 5th grade, or whenever the heck that was. I loved playing percussion, and I loved the drums, and that's something that I've always been heavily involved in, and that's carried on throughout college. And so I've been involved with AU's marching band, our symphonic band, and even our percussion ensemble. And so I like getting involved in as many groups as I can in the music department. And then aside from that, I'm also on esports on our Hearthstone team. A friend of mine, who was my roommate at one point, convinced me to do that on a whim, and I said, sure, why not? I have free time, I guess. And as time passed, I found I didn't have a lot of free time, even with that, but it was still enjoyable, and I still found time to do it. So that's another decision I felt like I made that was fun and worth my while. So that's something else I do around here.
How do you think the connections you've made here at AU will further your career?
Oh, wow. So just every person, every faculty especially that I've been able to meet just from doing what I do, every guest speaker who comes in, everybody who's knowledgeable in the field and who has like taught me things, I feel like that is so pivotal. Pivotal. That's so important. And I think a big one currently for me is who I'm interning with right now, and that's over at Rise FM in Mansfield, Scott Saunders, who initially actually taught Derek, who's our current general manager of WRDL. Working with him has been fantastic, and being able to kind of get a grip of what things are going to be like if I were to be in the shoes of somebody who is producing for a radio station has been utterly invaluable, and it's been just wonderful. And to have someone like that as a reference, and to have like all the people that I've built connections with here as a reference, is just so incredible to me. Not to mention the reel that we create by all the work that we do around here. That's something else that I need to do that. I need to grab a flash drive and go and get everything that I can eventually.
Mm-hmm. What are you going to miss most about AU?
Geez. Well, obviously this department. I'm going to miss this place a lot. Just going to CFA every day, saying hi to everybody, joking around with everybody, going to our board meetings every Tuesday and razzing Kate or whoever might be in there, waking up with early birds and doing all of that. That's such a fantastic time. Especially early birds, I think I'll miss the most, because just the connections I built with people on there just from interviewing them, the connections I made with, my other co-hosts being on there, and just the sense of responsibility that's created and has been so ingrained into my daily life that like even on weekends when I set an alarm for like 11:30, I still wake up at 6 a.m. on the dot, and I'm like, well, I'm ready to go whenever. That kind of thing, it's just like ingrained into me now. And when I graduate, I feel like a big chunk of me is going to be missing. So hopefully I'll find some kind of job to fill that void.
Tell me what your favorite memory is from your time on campus here at AU.
Well, there's a lot of interesting ones. I can go into a couple of them, one that's, JDM related, and one that I think is just funny that comes to mind. One that I thought was pivotal for me in JDM is, of course, Vinyl-thon. Being able to produce during that weekend is just one of the best moments of my life. It truly has been. Just being able to get some vinyl records, spin it, stay up into the wee hours of the morning with everybody, grab some Taco Bell or something, and just eat and enjoy some music. It's one of the most rewarding, one of the most fun experiences I've ever had being at AU. And I have to give my thanks to just all my compatriots in here in JDM, and they've just been wonderful to me. So that's a good one there. And then as for something funny that happened, I had a big friend group my freshman year of being on campus, and as you do your freshman year with a big friend group, you stay up until who knows when in the morning, where you just don't sleep at all. And so there was one morning in particular, we were, I say morning because it was like 4 in the morning. We were up studying, watching a movie on the TV in the main lobby of Amstutz, and an RA came out of the elevator and asked if we saw anybody come in or out. And we said, no, why? And he goes back into the elevator and pulls out a road sign with concrete and rebar and dirt at the bottom of it because somebody had hoisted this thing out of the ground and shoved it in the Amstutz elevator. He was fuming, but we were just laughing so hard because we're like, how did that thing get there? And they checked the cameras, they did everything, they didn't see who did it, where it came from. It just kind of appeared there, and it was just so strange to me and so funny. So I don't know, that's just like an odd memory that's in my head. I'm like, that was interesting.
Do you have any parting words or anything you would like to say to your classmates and our audience?
Well, thank you so much for giving me a welcoming space here and for just making me feel at home. It's been such a great time. I feel like everybody here is like a piece of my extended family. I kind of know a little bit about everybody. I kind of, have engaged with somebody at some point, and I know everybody to some degree. And I don't think I would have found that anywhere else if I went to any other school. Just being here, interacting with the people I have, building the connections that I have has just been such a big piece of my life, and one that I know I'm going to be, sad when I eventually let go. But thank you to everybody for taking the time to, house me, to take me in, to teach me, to allow me to learn under, the roof of CFA and within this department. And also, for any incoming freshmen or for anybody who's in the department, keep doing what you do. Get involved in any way that you can. You can do all three if you're crazy, but you might like it, And even if you do all three at one point, you'll find out which one you like the most, and then you can go with radio, TV, or the collegiate. There's a lot of ways to get involved, and when you find that niche and you find a drive to do something, you're gonna feel like this fire in you just got lit, and it's one of the best things that you could ever hope to find in your life, and it's really given me purpose. So I just can't thank everyone enough, and I just hope that myself and my other upperclassmen can inspire anybody younger to persevere, to keep on doing what they're doing, and to rise to the top. Go Eagles.
Well, Nick, thank you so much for being here, and good luck with everything in the future.
Thank you very much.
That is it for our special edition of The Eagle's Eye on AUTV 20. Be sure to follow us across all social media at AUTV 20. I'm Kylie Van Dine. Thanks for watching.